Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a piece of everyday magic that most of us carry right in our pockets. We're going to break down the exact mechanics of tapping your phone to pay and reveal the invisible technology working behind the scenes. It's a process we rely on effortlessly, multiple times a day, usually without even breaking our stride or looking up from our daily routines. But the complex engineering and, honestly, the sheer physics making this seamless interaction possible, it is absolutely fascinating. Let's get right into it. So we are all incredibly familiar with this exact sensory experience. Picture it. You walk up to a checkout counter, whether it's for your morning coffee or a cart full of groceries. You hold out your device, and literally within a fraction of a second, tap, beep, and a receipt prints. The entire transaction is wrapped up in just a few fleeting moments, and you're good to go about your day. It's so fast and so ubiquitous that we've completely normalized what is essentially a highly complex digital conversation happening right out of thin air. But have you ever actually paused to wonder what's happening in that exact moment? Most of us do this all the time without a second thought, totally trusting it. But the stakes are high, right? This is your hard-earned money being instantly authorized and transferred over invisible airwaves. So what kind of hidden technological magic is happening in that literal empty space between your phone and the plastic terminal to move your money so quickly, seamlessly, and securely? Well, the answer comes down to a technology called NFC, or near-field communication. Simply put, it's a short-range wireless tech that lets nearby devices exchange information. But here's the catch. Unlike standard radio waves like FM radio or your cellular data that broadcast outward for miles, NFC creates a highly controlled, invisible bridge. Specifically, it operates on a precise frequency of 13.56 megahertz to establish a very localized magnetic field. And it's this incredibly tight communication bubble that makes modern payments possible, letting two pieces of hardware securely talk to each other without ever physically touching. Moving on to Section 1, how the tap works, or as I like to call it, the invisible handshake. When you bring your phone near a payment terminal, you are basically kicking off a highly choreographed digital dance that happens in the literal blink of an eye. See, the terminal is constantly emitting this tiny, invisible electromagnetic field. And when your phone's internal antenna enters that specific field, boom, the two devices instantly connect. That's the invisible handshake. It's a two-way dialogue. The terminal wakes up your payment app and says, "Hey, I need a payment." And your device actually checks to make sure the terminal is a legitimate merchant before it sends a single byte of data. Once that mutual trust is established, the secure info is exchanged and the transaction is totally complete. Now, naturally, knowing your phone is wirelessly beaming your sensitive financial data through the air leads to an immediate and very understandable question. Is my actual credit card number floating through the air to the store's terminal? The reassuring answer is almost always no. Modern payment systems rely on a brilliant protective process called tokenization. So instead of transmitting your actual card number, your device generates and sends a temporary single-use token. Think of this token as a random string of absolute gibberish. It represents your account, sure, but it's just a temporary placeholder. If a hacker somehow intercepted this signal out of thin air, it would mean absolutely nothing to them, it can't be reused. The only entity in the world that holds the secret map to link that random string of gibberish back to your actual bank account is your credit card network. So that useless token travels safely from the merchant to the payment network, gets decoded in a secure vault, verified against your account, and an approval message is fired all the way back to the store in milliseconds. It's an incredible layer of dynamic security. All right, Section 2, the power of proximity and why distance actually matters here. So NFC was purposely engineered for extremely short-range communication. We're talking a signal that usually drops off entirely after just a few centimeters. Think inches, not feet. And this physical constraint isn't some technological flaw. It is absolutely a deliberate, critical design feature. It relies on a principle called magnetic induction, which literally requires the transmitting and receiving antennas to be practically on top of each other to induce the electrical current needed to share data. This gives you the convenience of a quick tap, while severely reducing the chance of accidental transactions. Your phone simply cannot broadcast your payment info across the room to someone holding a scanner. You have to intentionally, physically place your device right up against the reader, making distance the ultimate physical firewall. People often lump contactless payments in with all the other wireless tech we use daily, but there's a huge misconception that NFC works just like Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Honestly, it's completely different. While Wi-Fi and Bluetooth operate over much longer distances and are constantly shouting their presence out to the world to find connections, NFC is designed exclusively for quick, deliberate, one-to-one interactions. I mean, you wouldn't want your wallet constantly shouting its presence to every router in a coffee shop, right? That ultra-short, closely guarded range isn't a bug. It is quite literally its primary security feature.
But even knowing about the magic of temporary tokens and these physics-based ultra-short ranges, you still might look at your digital wallet and feel a little hesitant. Trusting a digital invisible process just feels inherently counterintuitive compared to holding a heavy plastic card in your hand. You might be wondering, is trusting my phone truly safer than swiping a good old-fashioned physical card? Well, while no system is perfectly flawless, the modern engineering behind this tech provides a definitive answer.
In reality, your mobile wallet is heavily fortified. It's actually drastically more secure than swiping a traditional, easily cloned magnetic stripe card. And it's not just tokenization doing all the heavy lifting. That temporary token is heavily shielded by advanced encryption before it ever even leaves your phone. On top of that, there's strict device authentication constantly running in the background, making sure the terminal itself hasn't been tampered with or replaced by a skimming device. And crucially, modern phones add a layer of physical security that a piece of plastic completely lacks: biometric verification. Before a single piece of payment data is released to the terminal, your device usually requires your explicit permission through a fingerprint scan or facial recognition. Stack all that together, and these multiple defenses create a nearly impenetrable fortress around your money. Which brings us to Section 3, NFC in everyday life. Let's look beyond the checkout counter. You're likely relying on NFC technology constantly without even realizing it. Just think about the flow of your daily routine. When you wave your transit pass against the turnstile to catch the morning train, that's NFC. When you swap your corporate badge to unlock the office doors, or when you tap your smartphone keycard to get into a hotel room on a business trip, that is the exact same underlying infrastructure at work. Beyond Apple Pay, Google Pay, and contactless cards, this invisible field is quietly facilitating our physical movement through the world. The tech is absolutely everywhere, seamlessly granting us access to the spaces and services we need. So ultimately, what feels like a seamless, modern magic trick is actually wonderfully elegant and simple under the hood. Take a step back and look at it. It's simply two nearby devices having a very short, highly secure conversation. There's no swiping, no signing, no handing your personal belongings over to a stranger. Just a localized field, a quick algorithmic handshake, and a secure exchange of data. And the sheer scale of this technology is just staggering. This tiny, hyper-secure conversation happens in just a fraction of a second, yet it successfully powers billions of transactions around the globe every single year. We are literally talking about trillions of dollars flowing through these invisible centimeter-long bridges. It has fundamentally rewired consumer behavior and retail infrastructure, and it keeps our massive modern global economy moving safely and smoothly without missing a beat. So, the next time your phone beeps at a checkout counter, you'll know exactly what invisible handshake just took place. You'll know all about the magnetic fields, the encrypted tokens, and the sophisticated security layered into that split-second interaction. But it certainly leaves you wondering, as we walk through our highly connected world, what other invisible engineering marvels are we carrying around in our pockets right now, just waiting to be explained?